Welcome to SCP vs. VTubers, where we see who would be able to survive an encounter with some of the most dangerous or odd creatures in fiction. So, first up we have SCP-3000 versus Abe the Shark. SCP-3000 is a cognitohazardous entity with an uncertain area of effect. It can also affect observers, not just people who are near it. So seeing it doesn't change whether or not it affects you. The effects it has are severe headaches, paranoia, fear, and panic. It also causes memory loss or alteration. Even if you have mimetic resistance, it still will affect you. You can be resistant to it, but you're not immune. Its length is about 900 kilometers, which is about 3 feet per kilometer, so you can figure out how long that is in feet. The head is only 2.5 meters though, so it's about 10 feet across. Meaning you could avoid it, but it's a little bit difficult to. Humans have been known to be able to collect fluids so it can be approached, but mostly when it's inactive. Abe the Shark, being, well, a shark, may have mimetic resistance. Sharks are deep water animals, so it may be less likely to struggle with the dark and cold feelings that it gives, which is the fear, mostly. He may be able to get close fast and stay longer, but he would still have to leave eventually. He is a lot smaller than 3000, but him being a shark may allow him to avoid being eaten. So all in all, I'd say Abe probably has a 50% chance of survival and 25% chance of a win if they have a means to harm 3000, but without that, probably about 50% chance to die. Because, well, as far as I know, they don't have a way to hurt 3000. So second, we have SCP-999 versus Centurnal. SCP-999 is a safe class SCP, so they don't harm anything. Well, at least not humans or animals. It obviously eats and stuff, so it harms something technically, but it doesn't harm anything living. Contact with 999 causes euphoria. It does not deal well with caffeine. It'll become queasy and refuse to move or eat after a period of being super hyper. They accidentally gave it Coke once, and it was bouncing off the walls, and before it just couldn't move for a while. The person who did that did get reprimanded, because nobody likes it when SCP-999 gets hurt. It can also temporarily neutralize some dangerous SCP, just by making them really happy. 682, for example. However, it can cause a breach by doing that. 682, again, is the example there. They tested that, and he ended up going on a rampage after 999 interacted with him. So for Centurnal, they have a 100% chance of survival as long as another breach is not caused by 999. 999 can be easily defeated using soda, coffee, or anything caffeinated. Because, well, he doesn't deal well with it. It'll make him pretty much immobile. So third, we've got 209 versus SCP-067. So 067 is a safe class. It's just a pen that makes you write or draw. It does take control of the person's arm, so you can't really move while you're using it. So that could be dangerous, technically, if there's a containment breach and you're testing it. Because I don't think it knows whether or not to let go should something happen. That was not in the article that I read. So as far as I know, you could get killed while using it, but it itself will not kill you. It doesn't seem to be damaged by physical force, so you're not going to be able to get rid of it. It does release control once the work is done, so whether it's drawing or possibly making you write an autobiography, it will let you go once it's done with it. It does affect animals differently. They tested that on, I think it was some sort of monkey, and it just kind of went insane. So that could also get somebody killed. But if it's a human testing it, or in this case, who, you probably have about 100% chance of survival, so long as you're not under its control while something else happens. 067 can technically be considered to have lost when it gives up control. So fourth, we've got SCP-5151 versus Crimson Crusader 93. So both of these guys are knights. They're both honor-bound. 5151, though, can get drunk and will become incapacitated after that. You can also make blood contracts with it in order to help pacify it. However, it does really hate anybody who betrays other people, but that shouldn't be a problem for Crimson. They're both honor-bound and they wouldn't do that. However, if they were ordered to break that contract, they could get killed because of the way that the blood contract works. So basically, it will make you, I believe it's pretty much burst into flames if you break a contract. It's also humanoid, so it has limitations in that way. However, it does seem to be hiding a lot of power that nobody knows how far that goes. Overall, I would say Crimson has about an 85% chance to survive, unless they're ordered to break an oath, in which case, well, they're kind of done for. And that's if you form one with 5151. You don't have to, it's just to pacify it. Even so, with Crimson, it's unlikely that he would be attacked anyways, even if he doesn't form a contract. At number 5, we've got SCP-2686 versus Magijax. 2686, or the Moon Wizard, is a Euclid entity who lives on the moon, and he has a bit of a flip-flop personality, depending on how you talk to him and what you ask about him. He is stuck on the moon, though, so while he derives his power from the moon has to be below him for him to use his powers. So while he is on the moon, he's not able to use his abilities, so he's just stuck. He does have a companion somewhere that brings him food that could have its own abilities, but we don't know that. For Magi, though, they're demi-human and they have higher natural strengths naturally. They're also a dark magic caster, and so they're likely to be able to use their power even if on the moon, unlike 2686. Even if they couldn't, they have allies to aid them if they need, so 2686 is alone except for the pet. And overall, Magi probably has about a 90% chance to survive unless the pet has some abilities. Aside from that, they're probably gonna win. So number 6, we've got SCP-1230 versus Terraria VT. So this book is a safe class. It's a dream influencing object. So basically, when you, I believe, read it, it will allow you to have very detailed dreams. So if you've ever had a, what's it called? I don't remember the word for it, but basically dreams that you can control. That's pretty much what it gives you. However, if it's not careful, it can cause a subject to die. It has before, because it gave them a dream that was so different and to what somebody wanted that they did not want to come back to reality, even though the book was trying to get them to come back. They ended up having to keep the person in the dream world basically for about, I think it was 300 years, in the dream at least, before the person came back out and did a self-game over, to put it in YouTube-friendly terms. So if it's not careful, it will end up causing somebody to die, which it does feel really bad about. It did not want to do that. That was not its intent. So Terraria is a dream follower and likely has high psychological defense, so it's very unlikely that the book would accidentally cause them to die at all. They're humanoid, which means they can use the book. Animals cannot. And they're also a potential fighter, so even if the dreams were to cause some kind of danger, I don't think it would hurt them in any way. So I'd say Darai probably has about 100% chance to survive. The book doesn't want to kill, and it only did so before by accident. It attempted to prevent that death, but it couldn't. So in number 7 spot, we have Ezra Mash VT and SCP-079. So 079 is a sentient computer, basically just an AI, that was left running for so long that it developed its own consciousness, and it's constantly self-improving, which Ezra Mash is one as well. They're a self-improving AI. I cannot talk today. But they're less limited than 079. 079 is stuck on hardware that very much limits what it can do. It can learn to be more efficient with what it has, but even then you can only go so far. It does improve faster than Ezra, but with them being stuck on the hardware they have, they're not going very far. So I'd say they probably have a 75% chance to survive 079, so long as 079 does not immediately attack them. They should be able to win without any large issue, without getting deleted from wherever they're coming from. Being an AI, they would probably be smart enough not to risk something. Coming in at number 8, we've got SCP-077. This one is also Euclid class. It releases a destructive gas which transforms biological material into ooze. It can be prevented by reading the runes on it and the associated ritual. However, it does have a lot of side effects. It'll cause, I'm pretty sure it was headaches. I didn't get the notes down on this one. But Onyxia is a tooth thief. They're non-human and they can speak, so they can do the ritual and read the runes if they need to. But I would probably suggest getting as far away from the school as possible, as long as they don't have to do that. So they probably have about an 80% chance of survival, I would say. So they'd probably be fine as long as they read the runes. Number 9, we have 049. So this one I know a lot of people know about. They're a Euclid class SCP, they're humanoid. They're typically cordial though. The only time they get actually aggressive is if they sense the pestilence, at which point they will attack people, and generally can turn them into a zombie, which they command. It also kills you on touch, so if it gets too close to you, you're pretty much done for. However, Okami is a guardian angel or a cherubim. However you say that word, I don't remember actually. But they oversee souls and spirits. They've got 4 wings so they can fly around. And they're also immortal. They're about 9,000 years old. So the likelihood of survival for Okami is still 100% despite how dangerous 049 is. He could probably easily dispatch 049's zombies, which are 049-2. And he doesn't contain any pestilence, so he would not on his own activate 049. Not that 049 could hurt him in the first place, because he is a little too powerful for that. Coming in at number 10, we've got the Tapu Koko versus 682. 682 is a Keter class anomaly. It is impossible to kill by any known means, and it's constantly aggressive. It's barely contained as it is in an acid bath, which even then it escapes pretty often in order to rampage. It also becomes immune to failed termination methods, so if you don't kill it with whatever you got it before, it's gonna come back. They've tested it so many different ways and it still survives. Koko is human and doesn't have any supernatural abilities, so he probably couldn't defend himself, at least on his own. most likely he would have to rely on friends or allies with abilities in order to survive. However, it's possible he could escape if the Foundation or their friends arrive, so I'd give them probably a 35% chance to live. They'd have to get lucky, though, I would say, on this one. So, at the last spot, we've got SCP-3794, which is a hammer that turns people into salsa versus V the Info Dealer. So V is just an android, as far as I know. He doesn't really have human flesh anymore. He's mostly cybernetic, so even if you hit him with this hammer, he's not going anywhere. He's also powered by a black hole, so you might not want to get close to him in the first place, and he's barely sane. So I'd give him a complete chance of survival, because it's not going to hurt him in the first place. If anything, I would start running, because the possibility for Salsa Eldritch Horrors is pretty tempting, seeing as when you hit someone with a hammer enough, it will turn them into basically a salsa monster that is still conscious. Basically, they will go around begging to be eliminated until they're eaten. So yeah, the only way to get rid of them after you turn them into salsa is literally to eat them. Otherwise, they'll just keep going around. And seeing as V's pretty chaotic as it is, I don't think he would be able to resist the temptation to set off at least one little rampage of those. He'd probably enjoy it. But yeah, that's all of them for this video. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll see you next time.